Howdy everyone, Polcho here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we'll be doing the hero spotlight for Benedict, the healer for the Crimson Order, aka the new Archons. This faction has strong synergy with the Archons. We'll cover that in a different video, however, since the Archons did get some reworks to their abilities and how they work with the Crimson Order. So as usual, we'll go over stats, abilities, look at the animations, and talk a little bit about the hero. So let's get into it. Going over Benedict's stats, hit points come in at 27 million, speed 224, armor 538k, magic damage resistance 1 million, basic magic damage 1.6 million, magic critical hit chance 57, and magic critical damage 3.1 million. Going into the stats more in depth, you can feel free to take any information you want, use it how you see fit. Is there for you. So we'll jump over to the arena now and go over his abilities, as there are only 2 characters for the faction. We'll have a bit of a play around since we can mess around with the Archons as well, but we won't go too much into combat with them since there's still a fair bit of the faction that needs to be released. Going over Benedict's basic attack, we have Sacred Flame. Performs a ranged magic attack on one target. Cast regeneration on the ally with the lowest HP percent for 2 turns. At the start of their turn, the target restores 33% HP. Removes 1 stack of enlightenment from Benedict and casts regeneration on one other random ally. Doesn't apply to support attacks. Awakening this ability, damage is increased by 35%, regeneration lasts for longer and restores more HP. Looking at the animation of the attack, we're going to go ahead and just attack a random gatekeeper. And cool, his stuff lights up and he shoots a beam down. Pretty straightforward. Nothing crazy about this ability. Good healing to it, but nothing insane. Not the craziest we've seen. Pretty straightforward. Benedict's second ability is Sanctuary. Removes all shields from the target and places them on an ally with the lowest current HP. If the target has no shields, the ally receives target in cover for 2 turns. Defenders cannot be chosen as targets or become recipients of the effect. Performs a melee magical attack on the target. Self-casts target in cover for 3 turns. Removes 3 stacks of enlightenment from Benedict and restores 60% HP to all allies. If Benedict has less than 3 but more than 0 stacks, the existing stacks are spent, restoring 30% HP. Awakening this ability, if Benedict removes shields, he increases the initiative of a random Crimson Order or Archon ally by 33%. We'll go ahead and look at the animation of the ability. Again, we're just going to cast it on a random gatekeeper. He shoots up and boom. Just light damage, ladies and gentlemen. But this is the first ability we've ever seen that allows you to destroy the shield on an enemy and then reapply it to an ally. So it has pretty good survivability and utility to it. I'm sure it could become very useful against some teams. Cloud Wanderers, for example, when the Roxanne leadership ability is awakened, they all start with a shield. Then you've got Goos that can apply shields quite quickly, and they are very effective. So there's definitely use for this somewhere. Shields are quite prominent in a lot of the meta squads, so to be able to protect your allies by applying shields to them through absorbing it off an enemy, I don't know, it's quite nice. I like it. Going over Benedict's third ability, we have Radiant Mercy. Cast 5 stacks of damage reflection on Archon or Crimson Order Defender allies. An enemy who deals damage to such an ally receives damage equal to 70% of the damage dealt. 1 stack is spent when damage is taken. All other allies receive an effect that increases the chance of dealing critical damage up to 100% for 3 turns. Performs a ranged magic attack on all enemies. Removes 4 stacks of enlightenment from Benedict and casts Resurrection Ban on the target and 3 random enemies for 3 turns. If Benedict has less than 4, but no more than 0 stacks, then the number of random enemies is reduced by 2. Awakening this ability, instead of damage reflection, it casts parry on the defender or defenders. Any enemy attacking such a defender will receive 70% of the damage dealt. Damage received by the defender is reduced by 50%. We are all familiar with parry. It is the ability that Ciri and Yuki have, and now Benedict is able to apply it to the tanks or defenders of the Archon and the Crimson Order faction if the ability is awakened. So if you're looking for a more sustainable tank, then definitely worth awakening. I haven't seen the Crimson Order tank, but we all know Magnus as well, and Magnus is very efficient at applying taunt. A lot of the time he has the enemy attacking himself, because when allies drop below a certain percent of HP, he insta-applies taunt to himself through his passive. So this could be very effective for Magnus, for example. I'm not sure the Crimson Order tank, how he will operate or she will operate, whether she is very efficient in taunting or forcing enemies to attack her. If we compare it to Yuki, for example, Yuki can put parry up and the enemies can almost ignore her. It's beneficial to try and get rid of her if you can, because she offers defensive abilities to her allies, but there is nothing forcing the enemy to attack her, and you're not getting that damage reflection off of it. So it would be very interesting to see how this works on Magnus or the Crimson Order tank. Looking at the ability and its visual effects, we're going to go ahead and cast it. So he floats up into the air and just absolutely blasts the enemy with a beam of light. You can see Resurrection ban applied to 3 of them. So yeah, pretty good utility and the ability to add defensive capabilities to your tank. Finally, we have Benedict's passive Enlightenment. Restores 25% HP to an ally when they reach level 3 of Devotion to the Order. Do not be confused, we haven't talked about Devotion to the Order. It is something that Lucius, the leader to the Crimson Order, has built within him. So when we cover him, you will understand it. Starts the wave with 10 stacks of Enlightenment. Reduces the damage received by 8% per stack. When Benedict has no Enlightenment stacked, he cannot miss or be dodged. He also receives unremovable True Strike. Benedict's next amount of damage will be dealt twice, but cannot be critical. If Benedict dies and was revived, he would come back with the same number of Enlightenment stacks as the time of his death. Awakening this, when Benedict does not have Enlightenment, he casts Brotherhood of Blood on 2 allies with the lowest HP for 2 turns. Each time Benedict deals damage, an ally is healed for 50% of the damage dealt. So awakening him is going to allow him to heal more to his allies, protecting the ones with the lowest HP. So very, very interesting hero, but it's a faction, I believe, that has very strong synergy with its allies, and it will be interesting to see how the Archons compared to the Crimson Order. Obviously, the Crimson Order, I think, are just going to outweigh the Archons, but it will be interesting to see nonetheless. The Devotion to the Order, I think, plays a big part with the allies. I'm not sure how it affects the Archons, but we will cover that, again, like I said, in the Lucius Spotlight video. So there is Benedict, the healer to the Crimson Order. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you're on the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.